What is going on, Libra? This is your girl Venus Archangel here with another love reading for you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you can see, I'm on camera, so hopefully you guys, enjoy. Now, if you're unsure of your placements, go ahead and check the description box below. Also, guys, please remember that these readings may not resonate with everybody, and that's totally fine. Yeah, I decided to go back to the Rider-Waite for a minute with this one. I just thought maybe as an introduction to me being back on camera, I wanted to kind of go with something classic. I'm comfortable reading with the Rider-Waite the best. So let's see. All right, y'all, let's see what's going on in your love lives. Okay. All right. Ooh, I'm doing a Celtic cross. I'm also going to be using the Oracle cards, the Wisdom of the Oracle. And I'm going to be using Whispers of Love. Okay. All right, guys. Oof. So we're working with the Three of Swords this time around. So we're looking at some old issues, some old pains, some past hurts. Definitely looking at everything that y'all been through, and really to kind of healing the wounds that haven't really been healed before. Now you have the Three of Wands here underneath that. What are you guys expecting? A relationship. Okay, so these are old issues, or old, well, not really old issues, but this is like a pain that you guys had in regards to something that you guys were expecting to pan out to be wonderful. Something that was meant to be, stable and solid, and it didn't turn out to be. Okay. Perhaps this was something you've been working very hard for, or hard on, and it just never turned out the way it didn't get there. And that's that pain there, of course, where you kind of, it kind of can hamper a lot of future things to come up, right? Because you put your heart out there, you did the best that you could, and it still didn't turn out to be the way you wanted to. Now, the situation here is definitely showing that you guys may be avoiding some things. You guys have the Seven of Swords, like kind of just avoiding stuff, not really interested. And in return, right, you have this blockage. The blockage is the Emperor that was hindering you guys, and it's not taking control of your life. It's more of just kind of taking, just kind of backing out, just not interested anymore. You're not really wanting to I feel like you lost a lot of flavor for a lot of things, and in turn you just kind of feel like, what, I just don't really want to get involved. I don't really want to do any of that. I just want to just kind of just be about. And I feel like I see where you guys are coming from, especially considering what you guys have put your heart and soul into, right? Or whatever you guys have been working really hard at, it didn't really come to be, and therefore you kind of may have surrendered your power, right? You may have just been avoiding things, trying to avoid things. Now in the foundation, or in the past, you have the Seven of Cups. And this is there's a lot of options, a lot of things present, making a decision, trying to figure out which cup is yours, what cup, resonates with you, what makes you feel good. Okay. And I feel like the Seven of Cups also indicates that there was perhaps something that was too good to be true in the past, or this need to take a little bit closer, farther than the focus, farther than the surface, rather, because, everything can be, can look amazing and great, but what was it that was perhaps missed? Because everything looks so nice, because everything looks so great. The present, you have the Hierophant. So this is perhaps you guys are, are committed to something, or committing to yourself right now. It could be guys that you're staying within routine right now, not really doing anything different, and just kind of sticking with what you know, right? Because For a lot of you guys could be in a commitment, something that's grounding, that's, you know, that's stable, and just kind of staying within the status quo of things at the same time, not really going outside of the box. But I feel like that kind of puts you in a position where you kind of feel like you don't really know where to go next. At the same time, you do. I feel like you have to eventually put the swords down and figure out what it is that you want, or at least, you know, say what you want. Because the Two of Swords can indicate, right, that you already have the truth. But at the same time, you can't really make a clear decision without actually seeing what it is that you need to see, which is what we are looking at here, which is the Seven of Swords. This avoidance here. You're avoiding something. And I feel like it's avoiding taking control of your situation because of what you guys had, you know, what you guys are hurting about. Because, you know, in order to have that control, in order to take control, you have to face those pains. And in order to face those pains, you know, it would have to, you know, you have to be kind of going outside that comfort zone again, right? You have to kind of break outside of that routine. And that's what the Two of Swords is about. Eventually, you get stuck, you get tired of being conformed. You get tired of being, you know, stuck in a box. You know, right? Avoiding stuff all the time gets you nowhere. But at this, and I feel like in the future, Libra, you eventually put down these swords. You're kind of figuring, you're gonna just say what your piece is. Do what you do. You know, communicate in the way that you feel you need to communicate, but walking your truth. Because the situation is like, it's on hold. It's on hold, and the Two of Swords is, yeah, it's saying that there's a decision that needs to be made, but there's no clear decision yet until you know, until you see what you need to see, which is these Three of Swords in your heart. What it is that you're trying to avoid controlling, or, you know, or avoid at all costs. That is at the same time relinquishing your control. Now, in your outcome, or your crowning energy, you have the Ten of Cups. Now, the Ten of Cups can indicate here that there is this happily ever after, things coming to a close. You know, this is an emotional cycle ending. And I really feel like this is you guys, right? This is you guys saying goodbye to certain situations that may not have worked, or saying goodbye to that emotional tugging of some things that, you know, that may have been in the past, but, you know, that may be in the past, but, you know, no longer truly affect your life other than the memory of it. You know what I mean? Some of you guys, this is also being open to a new, you know, being open to, you know, happily ever after, you know, like just allowing something to come in. Perhaps this is, you know, the Ten of Cups. Well, Ten of Cups is obviously coming up here, right? But perhaps this is saying, you know, welcoming someone in, you know, making this relationship work, completing this cycle of something that was emotionally draining or emotionally taxing because of this because of the Three of Swords. Everything kind of goes back to the Three of Swords, right? Or this could be just completely ending the cycle where, you know, you could say goodbye to things that didn't really fit you emotionally, and now you can make the steps forward to be happy. I like that. I like either way. Now, how you feel is the High Priestess. You do know how you feel. You're keeping it under wraps, though. I don't think anybody knows, and I don't think, I mean, this means you do know, because obviously the High Priest knows everything, right? The High Priestess is very in tune to her emotions. So you do kind of know how you feel, but you're keeping it internal. You're keeping it private. You're keeping it secret. You're not telling anybody. And as a matter of fact, you feel like you're kind of just kind of going on instinct right now. You don't have a clear direction either at the same time. You know, you're just kind of going with how you feel in the moment. You know what I mean? Because the Seven of Cups here just tells me right there is this need to be, you know, that you have this, you know, need to kind of go with your intuition, because you're not looking at the situation. You're avoiding it. There's a lot of avoidance. You could be dealing with an individual here that is, you know, avoiding the situation altogether. Therefore, it kind of makes it very hard to take control. Or perhaps you are taking control of the situation, where you have somebody here in your life that doesn't really take things seriously, doesn't do anything like that, doesn't do anything like, add their 50, and now you have to take control, and that's the kind of the pattern now that's kind of repeating itself. That could be the situation too, and you end that cycle, right? Perhaps what your desire is in the crowning energies to end the cycle where you don't take control all the time. You actually you have that 50-50. That person does their thing, you do your thing, and you don't cross any boundaries, don't cross any lines. You know what I mean? So I really feel like with the High Priestess, though, it's like, yeah, you guys know what you want, you know how you feel, you're just not communicating it with a lot of people right now. You're kind of keeping it to yourself because, again, you don't really want to get involved. You don't want to get involved with anything, really, because of this. You know, and I understand. You're just like, no, I'm good. I'm not going to do this. Now, with your outcome, or your external energy, I don't know why I'm just keep saying outcome. Your external energy here is the 6 of Swords. Okay? Now, this is talking about moving on, moving away. This is talking about getting away from a situation. Yeah, I mean, this is trying to move on, but you have the Hierophant here, which talks about commitment, traditions, routines. Those are contradicting energies. They don't really go together. So I feel like this was right now making a change or leaving behind old patterns or traditions that never worked for you in the first place, or not necessarily never worked for you, but worked in some period of time. But now they don't fit. They don't register. They don't resonate with you. Right? There's a lot of moving on from things that you routinely did when situations arose, got a little bit difficult. You're doing something different. Right? And in a way, you are trying to heal. You are trying to get out of, you're trying to make your life better with the 6 of Swords. You're trying to move on. Right? You're trying to move on. But in order to move on, there's got to be looking at the situation. Because of the future, you have to look at it. There's no other way. But being compassionate to yourself, that's the part that's missing with that, right? Because you can be. You can be compassionate when you look at the past. Now, in your hopes and fears, you have the 9 of Swords. Up all night, stressed out, unhappy. Really, just like, you feel like you're just going to continue to just get hit with a sea of unhappiness. This constant over and over again, just unhappiness. But this is not it. You're not going to always get this happiness. Right? You're not going to always, this happiness, that's not a word. You're not always going to get unhappiness. No. Nope. If the good times don't last, the bad times don't last either. This is a really uncomfortable feeling. I get it. Like when you get hit, when someone approaches you and you're just like, no way, because of X, Y, and Z, right? Yeah, it can remind you of some things you may not have been able to get over. But this isn't to say that you will never be able to have happiness again. Can. It takes courage to do this. It takes courage. It takes compassion. It takes the structure and the commitment to be able to go through it. Committing to move forward. Committing to yourself. Committing to making that step ahead. Because you can do it, Libra. It's just believing in yourself. It's believing in yourself. You do somewhat in the High Priestess. The High Priestess trusts herself. She knows exactly how she feels. She knows exactly what she's capable of doing. You have the High Priestess and the Hierophant in here as well. You guys could be dealing with the twin flame connection. These two together can talk about divine connection there. So there's some big stuff coming up with this, but you can have happiness again. It just requires love and compassion within yourself, and knowing that this isn't the end. There's something that you can take from this, but this is not. You're not always going to end up with 9 of Swords being unhappy, being sad, being left, not necessarily left out in the cold, but feeling, depressed and sleepless. Like you're not able to sleep very well. Trust me, guys. Now, in your outcome, you have the 2 of Pentacles. So this is like keeping the balance, looking at the situation, being very practical. You guys may end up distracting yourself with work, things that are not emotional, kind of detaching yourself from how you feel, because this is a lot simpler. This is a lot more easier, handling business and work and everything. It doesn't involve your emotions, but in turn, it will potentially affect this. Why? Because everything we do is because of love. Everything we have is because of love. And if our emotions are not right, then the other stuff won't be right. How we feel internally will reflect on the outside. And I feel like this person juggling things, this can't last forever. And the waves have to eventually die down, but only if it's been addressed. Like the 2 of Swords in the future. You're stubborn. You guys, Libras, I don't know. People don't understand that. Us Libras, we can be very stubborn. But the thing here is, guys, is that we're also very open-minded. We can change if we want to. We can do something differently if we want to. In regards to love and relationships and commitment and how that whole thing goes, we can do something different for our own happiness, for our own sake, not for anybody else, because we don't need anybody else. We just need to be true to ourselves. But being true to ourselves does require us to look at what the situation has going on. And it may be painful. And it especially may not even be our fault. But it takes time and acceptance and the right mindset to be able to welcome in a happily ever after. And I know that we can do it. Okay, so let's take a look, see at your wisdom of the oracle cards this week. Co-create. I like that. Co-create is your card, and that talks about manifesting. It's very interesting. It's like law of attraction. And I know there's a card in here that talks about law of attraction already, which is Treasure Island. But this is very similar to that. You have the power to create whatever you want to create. But you have to recognize your power. You have to take your power back by looking at the problem. Looking at what hurts. Like I said before, you may not even did it. Maybe someone else hurt you. Or maybe, Libra, you are the person that maybe have dipped, right? Because you didn't want to take any responsibility. But now it's time to take responsibility of your own actions. Or Libra, this is now the time to look at what has happened regarding all the relationships, regarding the old relationships that may have fallen through, and knowing that you did the best that you could. Because you had the Three of Wands there. You did the best that you could. You worked hard. You expected something to come, but perhaps it didn't. And now what? You're going to just sit there and expect more heartache? No. No, don't expect more heartache. You deserve more than that, right? Let's see what's going on in your whispers of love here. Oh, wow. Exchange love through gifts. A small token to someone expresses your love to them. Yeah. And it's talking about giving someone a gift, right? But I feel like this is talking about giving yourself the gift of kindness, the gift of patience, the gift of compassion. Because right now, what you've got going on here, yeah, it's understandable. You worked your behind off. You wanted something. You expected something to work. It may have fallen through. But your determination to keep moving forward is what is going to make this 10 of Cups a reality. You have that fight in you, Libra. You always have. You always will. Okay? And it may be a little confusing right now. You may not exactly have an idea of where to go. But decide what you want. Because that's another thing, right? Avoiding it all together, yes, is one thing. But not even having an idea what you want. Figure out what it is that you want, Libra. Figure out what it is that makes you happy, makes you feel excited. Because if you could get that idea down, you'll be able to be more motivated to move forward, to be able to say, you know what, that may have happened in the past, but I know what to do differently this time. I know what I can take from that situation. I know what I can expect more of from myself and from my next relationships, because I'm going to be the best I can be when it comes to my love. Okay? All right, Libra, I'm gonna let y'all go. Thank you so much for tuning in, liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing my videos, guys. You know how much I appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, Libra.